A ghost win denies Italy an historic win in France. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. We had a very dramatic and sad end to this game, but let's start at the start. So Italy on the front foot, some good attack. They managed to force a penalty. It's in a very kickable position, but they opt to go to the corner. I was thinking at that stage, they should just kick it, get themselves on the board, because last time out they were nilled by Ireland. They don't want to get nilled again today. France then managed to keep them out as they point away the line, and they force a turnover there, and then France, they come forward from after this, managed to work it up to the line. There's just really quick recycles and pick and goes from them, and the Italian defence is never quite properly set, and Olivon goes over to score. Ramos converts at 7-0, and it was just so intense from France. Italy just couldn't live with them for that period there. Then Pasolo Tulagi shows just some really great hands to release Jalabert on the right. He breaks, but then Italy stopped him just short of the line, but they do get pinged for a penalty. Ramos pops that over for 10-0, and France starting to take a little bit of control. Italy again have another good position. They're on the French line, but they can't find a way out, and they knock on. Just feel, they need a little bit more patience and some more composure when they get close to the line to be able to work it properly. France then win a penalty at the scrum, as just massive pack puts huge pressure on the Italian 8 in that scrum. France then, they're pushing for more scores, and they have plenty of possession and territory, and they're close to the line, but combination of desperate Italian defence and errors by France is keeping them out from extending that lead. And then just before half time, then France lose Jalabert to injury, and it was like the last 5 minutes or so of the half, just so many things happened. So Jalabert has to go off injured. He gets replaced by Mofana. Italy then have a final flurry at the end of the half after soaking up all that pressure from France. Finally, they have a bit of a break, and they're trying to run the ball out of their own half. There's a loose pass though, and we come back for a penalty for a high tackle. We then have a team row review of the hit, and it's Dante on Brex, and you can see already he's upright and it's head on head, so that's a yellow card. He goes to the bin, and the decision then goes to the bunker on whether it's going to be upgraded or not. Italy then have a long range penalty. Page Relo, he steps up to kick it, just about scrapes it over the bar, and halftime score is 10-3. Italy finally on the board, and depending on what happens with the card, it could be even better for them. Just after the restart then, we do hear about what happens with the card. Dante's yellow has been upgraded to a red. Seems pretty fair, honestly. He's pretty upright in the tackle, didn't make much of an effort really to get down and tackle lower. So France down to 14 for the rest of the game. Italy then get pinged at the breakdown, and France have a chance to kind of steady the ship a little bit. Ramos makes his 13-3 from the tee. Italy though beginning to work their way back into the game, and they win a penalty in front of the post. Garbisi makes it 13-6, and we're just ticking over into the final quarter at this stage. Italy then have a great position from a scrum just inside the French 22. They're looking to attack. France take Baudin out of the pack and put him in the back line just to equal the numbers up. And Italy must have been licking their lips. 8 against 7 in the scrum. Finally they have a chance to really pressure the French, but France win the penalty at the scrum, and they're able to clear the ball. France, so you can see, they're visibly tiring at this stage, and Italy seem to just be getting a new lease of life now, and they decide to attack from a scrum in round 22. Menoncello with a lovely burst up the middle gets them up to halfway. They then go forward from there. They work it first to the right inside the 22 and then over to the left. And then as they go over to the left, you can see that they have, numbers just about out there to get the ball to Capuozzo, and he goes over in the corner. Really well worked try from them. Garbisi converts from the touchline, and it's 13-3, all tied up. France then produce something going forward. Pinot with a break, and it really lifts the crowd. Like, the crowd was so quiet, and you can imagine why. Like, down to 14 men, looks like they're potentially heading for a loss. Italy though then win a scrum penalty, and they go up the line. France though disrupted the line out, and they turn it over, and you feel like, Italy, they need to hold their nerve at this stage to have a chance to win the game, but it feels like, potentially going to throw it away, the way they're playing at times. France then on attack, they're looking for a penalty or drop goal opportunity, but Italy crucially turn them over. Garbisi then kicks into space and just about avoids kicking it out on the full. The ball just about bounced before it went in. If it had to get out on the full, I think France probably would have gone on to win the game, because they would have been in such a great position in that Italian 22. But as it is, they now have France in France's half. France do secure the ball from the line out, and the clock is running down, but they're thinking now that we don't want to get the ball off the field because we have a chance still to win this, and they believe in themselves that they can run it from their own half. But they get isolated, and I think it might have been, I'm not sure, they didn't say in commentary, but I think it might have been Vincent who got over the ball to win the penalty, which is crazy when you think, because I saw in his interview, like, the guy was delivering pizzas a few weeks ago for Domino's or something. So it's crazy rise for him, and it's just an amazing story to see. But then Italy to have a penalty to win the game. It's in front of the post. It's not that far out either. Like, it's not a gimme, but you'd expect a kicker of Garbisi's quality to absolutely land it. He pops it on the tee. We're in a stadium with a closed roof, and this is where the ghost wind comes in. Somehow the ball falls off the tee. So then he has to scramble, put the ball on the tee. Then he's only got a few seconds left to kick it. And then he decides to rush it. He even had, I know it's not much, like 2 seconds doesn't sound that much, but he did have an extra 2 seconds at the point when he struck the ball. So he could have composed himself a little bit beforehand. But I suppose when you're used to going through your routine and stuff, an extra 2 seconds probably isn't going to make much difference. But because he rushes it, he gets in under the ball, and you can see that it's not flying right, and it hits the right post. Comes down, and then France then finally decide, listen, we're not going to win this, get the ball off the pitch. They get the ball off the pitch, and it's 13-3, and really cruel end of the game for Italy. And I won't be surprised if there's, even starting now, but at some point, if there's some kind of conspiracy theory about maybe the stadium or somebody in the stadium having like some kind of really powerful fan, like an industrial fan or something, that blew the ball off the tee. You can just imagine, especially the way the internet is these days, that something like that is going to pop up somewhere. And maybe this video is going to be the start of it or something. But it was really weird that the ball fell off, when it's basically indoors. But things like that, I guess, they happen, right? But really cruel for Italy in the end. But still, and this is the weird thing, a draw in France is a great result for them, but it's not going to feel that way for them, and it's not going to feel like a great result for France either. So it's kind of one of those where neither team won, both teams feel like they lost, I guess. Right, so we're going to look at some of the stats from the game. So let's start with the possession stats. If it will let me look at it. Yeah, so 52% for France and 48% for Italy. Now, that's pretty close, right? But France were just completely dominant in the first half. So I'd love to see a breakdown between the halves, because Italy must have done a hell of a job in the second half to even that up. And then territory, 58% for France and 42% for Italy. Again, France were even more dominant in the first half on that one as well. Tries scored then, one each. Carries 142 to 114. Meters carried 772 to 717. Meters gained 459 to 444. So you can see the numbers are very similar. France just about edging it, but not by much. Line breaks 4 each. Defenders beaten 33 by France, 12 by Italy. But I think most of Italy's defenders beaten were probably in the build up to that try for Capozzo. Actually, total pass down 191 to 173. Offloads 13 to 14. There were a couple of nice offloads actually in the build up to that try from Italy. Handling errors then 20 to 16. So Italy, doing better in terms of cutting out the handling errors and stuff. Still, though, they need the handling errors that they did have were at crucial times and in very, threatening positions on the field as well. So it's nice that they're kind of reducing the handling errors in their overall game, but you'd still like to see them cut them out when they're close to the line. Turnovers can see then 18 for France, which is a massive number, and 11 for Italy. Let's move on then to kicking. So kicks in play. 20 for France, 22 for Italy. So Italy finally outkicked someone in the Six Nations. I don't know when the last time that actually happened. So that's something to kind of commemorate as well, I guess. The fact that they've done that. But France, 20 kicks in play is not very much for them. You normally expect them to be up somewhere around the 30 mark for that, but 22 is a lot feels like a lot for Italy, although I think it's probably a little bit down on the average, but the fact that it's more than the French one, I think is the important thing here. Then kick meters, 567 to 601, so Italy coming out on top of that as well. Now let's move on to defense. So tackles made 116 to 179. So even with an extra man, Italy still had to make a huge amount more tackles. And most of those were done in the first half when they did so well to make sure that France didn't kind of, build a lead that they couldn't come back against. Tackles missed then just 12 for France, 33 for Italy. France at 91%, which is excellent. And, the defense, they've gotten a little bit of criticism through the tournament, but their tackling stats are saying like that they're actually doing pretty well. 84% for Italy is a little bit below par. Onto discipline then. Penalties conceded 12 each. Then free kicks 1 for France, and then one red card for Dante as well. Onto the breakdown then. Rooks won 100 to 82. Rooks lost 4 to 3, and then Rook speed 0 to 3 seconds. France is 61%, Italy at 59. Then 4 to 6 seconds, 23% for France, 27 for Italy, and then over 6 seconds, 16 to 15%. So the Rook speed very similar between the two teams, and they both showed decent ambitions as well when they got the chance to run the ball, especially towards the end. Scrums won then 4 for France, 6 for Italy. Scrums lost 1 for France and 3 for Italy. Italy under massive pressure in the scrum in that first half, and then it kind of turned around in the second half a little bit when they were 8 against 7. Lionettes won then 15 to 14. Lionettes lost 1 each, and Lionettes steals 1 each as well. And I think they had 1 steal each from the first two matches as well, so they both doubled their tally, but still not hugely impressive at that. So how about, where does this leave the two teams? So as I said, in terms of like just it being a result, that it's an amazing result for Italy, but there's always going to be that whole thing of what if the ball hadn't fallen off the tee. Garbisi would absolutely have nailed that kick and won them the game. So Italy, it's weird. It's like a really good result for them. And if it had been the fact that Garbisi was kicking a penalty to draw the game, and they drew the game by him getting over, so it was still 13-all in the end. But like he popped over a penalty right at the end to draw it. It would they would have been celebrating like crazy. But the fact that they had that chance to win the game and it didn't happen for them, is so deflating for them. And and it's going to be something that they're going to have to pick themselves up from. It's almost going to be as if they took a real hiding in this one. They're going to have to build their confidence back up again. But when they do that, they'll look back and they'll see that, you know, the amount of positives they can take out of the game in terms of the way that they're able to turn the game around, put France under pressure, the way they executed when they really needed to for the Capo to try as well. You know, as I said, a lot of positives for them. For France, the first half was good. The first half was the best half of rugby I think that France have played in the entire tournament. Now, that's not saying much because their other two games, they were pretty dire. But yeah, probably the best we've seen them in terms of fluency. The second half, then they fell away, so they haven't produced, you know, a performance, I would say, in this tournament so far. And now I saw Bernard Jackman was actually talking about the fact that Galtier, he wouldn't be surprised if Galtier is gone by the end of the Six Nations. And as crazy as that seems, he could be right, I think, on that, because, you know, if France just continue like this through the end of the tournament and they finish somewhere in the bottom three, it does feel like maybe they need like fresh voices and fresh blood in there to reinvigorate the squad and start building towards the next Rugby World Cup. So, you know, the impact of this game for both of these teams could be absolutely massive. But I think, you know, as I said, Italy, when they kind of in the cold light of day, when they've had a while to digest it and all the emotions are kind of taken out of it, there's a lot of positives for them to take out of it. Whereas France, I think there's a lot of questions for them, especially in terms of their attack, when they had so much possession and territory in that first half. And even though they were looking good in terms of dominating the game, they still couldn't get over to score. And, you know, that's got to be a worry, because we haven't seen them really, you know, in terms of their phase play, create anything really in the tournament when you think about it, you know. So like a lot of their stuff has been off like other teams' errors or through just, you know, through the pack or wherever. So a lot of work, I think, for France to do. As I said, a lot of positives for Italy to take out of this, but at the moment, I think both teams are just going to feel like, you know, the world has just ended for them.